Ooh. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 6th, 2025 meeting of Community Board 11th Environment, Open Space and Parks Committee. My name is Rosa Diaz, and I am the chair of this committee. This meeting is called to order at 6:35 p.m. Tonight, we are joined by Khalid Nixon, the staff liaison to our committee. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. Community Board 11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. To raise your hand through Zoom, click the participants icon and you will find the raise hand function there. Members should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subject on the agenda, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Thank you so much. Colleagues, take it away.
Okay, members, so we now have 7 committee members and 4 needed for quorum. Rosa Diaz,
Present.
Senator Johnson, Connie Lee,
Present.
thank you, Malik McCullough, Samantha Perdero,
Present.
excuse me, Perdero. Debbie Quinones, I see that Debbie is online, but I don't think she has an active form. Debbie, did you submit a present qualifying disability form by any chance?
No, I said I'm present.
Right, but you're present virtually. Did you submit a form by any chance?
It's really hard to hear you.
Okay, so we'll figure it out later. Okay, thank you, Debbie.
Okay,
Russell Shore?
thank you.
So sorry, Clement, absent. Your quorum, Chair.
Thank you so much. Adoption of the agenda. Tonight's agenda was distributed ahead by the board office and was posted online. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Committee members, do you object to adopting the agenda? Okay, the agenda is adopted with no objections. The meeting minutes was distributed ahead of time by the board office. There's no objection. We will adopt the,
Correction,
oops,
spelling of my name. Russell with 1 L, Schuler with no C.
ooh, papa.
Wow, yeah. All right, thanks, Russell. I'll make the correction.
No other objections. Minutes adopted. Thank you so much. The minutes will be taken by myself and we are going to announcements. Okay. Manhattan Greenway Harlem River Subproject 1 construction activities slated for Q1 of 2025. The application period for the 2025 New York City Green Fund Grassroots Grant Program with City Park Foundation is now open. Any other announcements? I don't see any more. And now informational updates, city agency partners.
And so, yes, we can go forward with any Department of Parks and Recreation representatives that are available to give us any informational updates.
I can go. Hi, everyone. This is Tapashi with the New York City Parks Department. I am the Historic Harlem Parks Administrator. Good to see everyone. I have a few announcements. In light of Black History Month, we have a Historic Harlem Park Super Hike on Saturday, February 8th, this Saturday, from 12 to 2 p.m. It's with the Urban Park Rangers, and it's a hike from Morningside Park through St. Nicholas and ending at the northern tip of Jackie Robinson Park. You can learn about history, geology, and ecology of the 3 of the 4 historic Harlem parks. It will start at Manhattan Avenue and West 110 Street in Morningside Park. You can register online or you can show up at the event at 12. Secondly, Manhattan Manhattan Recreation Centers will be hosting an open house week. This is done this entire week from Monday, February 3rd to Saturday, February 8th. What does this mean? You can go into any recreation center, any member of the public. You can go in, learn about what programs the recreation centers are offering through all 11 centers in Manhattan. You can join a class or take a tour of one or more of the facilities, and I encourage you to do so. You bring a lock and wear appropriate attire, and you'll be asked to complete a waiver if you're doing a class. As Rosa mentioned, the New York City Green Fund Grassroots Grant Program by City Parks Foundation is open. The deadline to complete an application is Friday, February 28th at 11:59 p.m. What's great about this grant program is that anyone can apply for it, an individual, um, a nonprofit organization, anyone can apply for it. It allows you to activate a local park or open space. The grant provides funding from $1,000 to $40,000 per year, with the option of a 2-year funding for returning grantees to better sustain projects long term. The grant is intended to advance the visibility of grassroots initiatives across parks and open spaces in all 5 boroughs. We also have a job fair coming up that NYC Parks will be hosting at Highbridge Recreation Center. This will be on Wednesday, March 12th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. It will be if you know anyone who needs a job, please send them our way to Highbridge. The job fair will include the Parks Department along with other city agencies. And lastly, we are starting to plan for Jackie Robinson Day Festival. This year it'll be on April 12th from 12 to 4. Last year, CB11 tabled. That's actually where I met Rosa. Um, uh, and Rosa with her kids, and Rosa was very innovative. When it started to rain, she told her kids to go under the table to take shelter. It's a wonderful event. It's community tabling at the band shell and sports clinic throughout the park. This year we're expanding to the streets. We're closing two city blocks. So we'll have lots of music, fun, food trucks. So I hope Community Board 11, you're welcome to table again. Let us know who's able to attend. And in terms of Marcus Garvey and the construction, right now, due to the weather not being above 40 degrees, we're unable to lay asphalt. So that's why you might not see the contractor in the park. So that's stalled until we have a few days of consecutive 40 degrees so they can lay asphalts. Are there any questions for me?
Yes, Connie has a question.
Hi,
I
Connie.
have a question. People in the park asked, in Marcus Garvey Park, asked me just yesterday if there will be one more phase after the current construction is done, or is this where it ends?
This is pretty much where it ends. This is phase 3 of 3. The only addition would be the path where from 120th Street, that entrance near the dog run, that will be closed off and they will lay asphalt there. But that's the extent of the construction work.
Any plans for a phase 4?
And the scope of this
No,
project
no.
ends at phase 3, unfortunately.
Okay, so you don't know of any future plans to finish the path so that it's all throughout, not just the 3 sides of the park?
So the scope of this construction project ends right where it is right now. In
Yeah,
terms
I
of
got that.
future
I was
work,
just wondering if there's a more.
for pavement, not at this time.
Okay.
No.
I'll pass it on.
And Matt Ginrich here, park manager, and partners with Tapashi to help work at Marcus Garvey Park. We'll pass that on to our borough office and obviously advocate for the rest of the park to be finished. And if we get any news on potential projects, we'll for sure let Community Board 11 know.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Any other questions? No? Okay, I think that's the updates from you guys. Thank you so much for being here every single month.
We've got a few. I have a few more updates for New York City parks. My name is Matt Ginrich. I'm the regional park manager for the area. As Tapashi mentioned, on top of the job fair, we do have some seasonal postings on our parks job page right now. Our recreation division is looking for people to help lead and set up for movie nights, mobile recreation vans, and other great seasonal fun job opportunities. So I will post the link to our page in the chat. And there's also still days where people can test out to qualify to become a lifeguard this summer. So we'll put that in the posting as well. And then as far as ongoing construction across the district, the Harlem River Park restroom project is still underway and on time. The McCrae Playground renovation is still continuing and expected to finish within their allotted year time frame. And then the Thomas Jefferson Park restroom addition should be opening up this spring here in May, right in time for a busy park season. And then we are anticipating that the PS 125 restrooms will be going under renovation here sometime this spring. I'm just waiting on a start date of when that work will start, and then we'll for sure to make sure CB11 is notified when that will break ground. Those are all the updates that I do have one other update. We have a new park manager for Community Board 11. His name's Corey Shaw. I don't believe he was able to make the meeting tonight, but I'll make sure to put his information in the chat as well, and then have him on our meetings going forward. Does anyone have any questions?
We're good.
Do you have Corey Shaw's information so that we can have it?
Yes, I will put his email in the chat, so you have it, and we can email it to the board separately as well.
This is Debbie. So is he replacing David?
Yeah, so our borough made some operational changes with managers. So David Williams is up in northern Manhattan, and Corey Shaw is now overseeing 10 and 11 as a district manager, working under my guidance.
Yeah, we need to have his contact information
Yes,
because I
you
have some
will.
issues. I have some issues with Art Park.
All right. Well, I'll put them in the chat, and then you can always. I'll put my email in the chat as well. You can always send them along.
Thank you.
I also wanted to add on regarding the lifeguards. We are doing qualifying tests right now, so we can send you the link to our lifeguard page. But the qualifying tests, sorry, I lost my information for that. But to qualify, you must be at least 18 years of age to start employment, have at least 20/30 vision in one eye and 20/40 in the other without corrective lens. Um, Glasses and contacts may not be worn during the eye exam, and you have to be able to swim 50 yards in 50 seconds or less with proper form. If you know any strong swimmers, send them the park's link. As you know, we've had over the last 5 years, due to the pandemic, we've had lifeguard shortages. So please help us spread the news. And the qualifying test ends mid-March. So there are lots of locations that are testing in each borough. So please help us by sharing the information.
Thank you, Tapachi.
Mhm.
Any questions? Okay, thank you so much for being here. Looking forward to next month. And do we have anyone from the Department of Sanitation? Were they able to make it this month?
We do not have it.
Thank you. If anyone has any questions for the Department of Sanitation, I think we should just write them, discuss them, write them in an email, and we can just, send it in, because I'm not continue to push for them to join us. Do we have anyone from the Department of Environmental Protection?
Our liaison is here and nobody is raising their hand to say that they're affiliated with DEP. And then also, just for the records, we should note that DSNY, they do want to come, but they're,
We did last month.
I'm sorry?
We did last month.
No, I mean, on a regular basis, but as they explained to us in terms of their hours and the overtime, they're not able to join us for every meeting, so just wanted to at least clarify that we should, yes, do make those requests in advance and try to get them to come in based off of
Right, they did mention that due to the overtime restrictions,
right.
that they're unable to join every single month. And we told them just to try to make it happen, once in a blue. But we'll send some questions in advance, some urgent questions in advance, especially when the weather goes really, really bad. Now we're moving on with parks advocacy groups. Do we have any? I believe I see a raised hand. I cannot see who it is.
David Salerno?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, how you doing? Good evening, everyone. Just gonna do some quick updates for Randall's Island. The biggest thing for Randall's is the golf center, the long closed golf center on the island, which was gonna be the concession was gonna be operated by Drive Shack. They actually have backed out, and the concession got reassigned through New York City Parks Revenue to Sport Time, which is the same operator who does the tennis center on the island. So they will be taking over the concession that Drive Shack had. So the golf center has been closed since I believe 2017 at this point. So we're hoping that they'll be able to get it back open again. If probably not this year, but maybe 26, 27. You should expect them once they have their designs and everything to come before the community board. I believe Ben Schlansky's already reached out to some members. I know they go to Youth and Ed a lot. But it's just recently happened. So I just wanted to spread that news to you, and certainly will be updates as they go through the design process. And they'll be here themselves to kind of introduce the project as it goes forward. Couple other things, just real quick. RIPA is hosting a celebration of Black History Month. It's actually not in the park. It's going to be held at the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center. It's join RIPA. It's going to be uplift with stories and work from the sorry, nature and community-based activities. There's going to be an Afro-Brazilian samba class, so there'll be music, games, and snacks. It's a family, obviously for all family members, all ages. It is February 20th at 3 p.m. Again, but it's at the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center, not on the island, which is on East 115th Street, 158 East 115th Street. The other stuff I have, again, I pointed out last week, we're hiring for seasonal positions for the year. We have a slew of positions on randallsisland.org. I shared the link last month. I'll share it again. So if you know people who are looking for, we have everything from stadium maintenance, field maintenance, horticulture, irrigation tech positions. So there's a myriad of different positions if people are interested. They should definitely check out the randallsisland.org website. And last but not least, we have an event loading in at the park. You'll see it popping up by the stadium. It's a Cirque du Soleil. They're starting to load in. And they're operating concession through Parks Revenue. They'll be operating in March and April alongside the track season, so it'll be really busy in that area. Yeah, that's pretty much about it for right now. Happy to answer any questions that people might have.
Any questions? I have a question.
Go.
I remember, I don't know if it was a year or 2 years ago, I remember. And my question was, and it still is, would they have any type of discounts for East Harlem community?
I actually spoke with their marketing people. I'm trying to get something. I think we'll be able to get some kind of discount code. Something that can be, I know in the past they've done, sometimes these events have done like community nights even, where there's certain targeted nights. So I'm working on that. I'm gonna speak with them again. The first shows aren't until March, so I'll be back next month. So I'm gonna work on that and hopefully have something. And if I get something sooner, I will send it to you to distribute out. But yes, I've already flagged that with them that I'd like to figure out something we can do with to engage the community and kind of make it more accessible for them. So stay tuned for more. I'll come up with something.
Awesome, thank you.
All right.
Dave, I have a follow-up
Yeah.
to that. It's more of like a, I mean, I guess it's a comment, but how can there be something implemented where when anyone is actually, using Randall's Park, Randall's Island, that it's like an automatic that they have to do something for the community. I don't know what, and I'm not trying to like create the standard. I'm just trying to figure out how there can be a standard of giving back to the community when they do holding events in our community. Instead of you trying to figure it out for
Yeah.
for each,
I'd have to.
that comes in.
I mean, it's all contracted through parks. They run through like park special events. Cirques a concession. So it's. I'll have to see what can be done. I don't know if there's a contractual like language that can be put in. But certainly, a lot of the groups are open to things. There's certain things they can do and can't do. And we've always tried to kind of get them to kind of at least open to doing sorts of discounts. We've done it with, especially with some of the other ones. I mean, we had the light show a couple of years ago, which I think is probably the one you're talking about, where we did programming. I can speak with like legal about with Parks Legal about what things can possibly be drafted into it. I don't know what's there, but I mean, certainly we can, make it so it's something that people are, pushed to do.
Because like technically, like, they are doing it in our community, and even if it's like a 10% code or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever, 20% code, or whatever it is, just so that we can feel like it's implemented and that we are part of whatever's going on in Randall's Island. And I just don't want it to, I don't think it should just be, well, this group can do this, and then that group can do this, and then this group can't do nothing. I feel like everyone that's coming into our community, because some go out to different places and do it in different parts of the country, and then some is locally. But especially for the ones that's not even, here, that's not local. We should be getting some type of benefits for them coming into the our city, our community.
No, I know, and yeah, like I said, I for now I will speak with this group, and come up with something that I can bring back to you guys. And no, I hear what you're saying, and we have worked before in the past to kind of get these. I don't know, again, I don't know if there's an across the board solution to it. But a lot of the groups are normally open to kind of doing something you said, like even if it's a discount code, something like that. So I will keep working with that, and I will speak with the contractual side if there is something that can be like written into it in that way. I'm just not sure on that.
Thank you.
No.
Fine.
Anything else?
No, that was it. Thank you for trying.
Alrighty.
Next month.
Talk next month. Yes.
Okay. Is there any other community-based organization? If not, we're gonna keep the agenda moving. Presentations, all right. Okay, now we're having a presentation by, the new Davis Center at the Harlem. Shetty.
Thank you, thank you. Good evening, Chair Diaz, members of the Parks Committee and Community Board 11. My name is Shatik Mitchell. I'm the Director of Civic Engagement, and I'm honored to be here today on behalf of the Central Park Conservancy to discuss an exciting new addition to the Harlem community, the new Davis Center at the Harlem Mare. As many of you know, Central Park is not just a world-renowned destination, but a vital green space that serves as a backyard for Harlem and East Harlem residents. The new Davis Center is designed with this in mind, providing enhanced recreational opportunities, improve access to the Harlem Mare, and a more welcoming, inclusive space for our community to gather, learn, and just overall connect with nature. So tonight, we'll share with you key details about the project, and I'd like to introduce my colleagues who will be making tonight's presentation. That'll be Sandy Huber, Senior Vice President for Capital Projects, Olivia Freeland, Vice President for Construction, Leah Day Van Horn, Chief of Staff and Vice President of Strategy and Programming, Darlene Lalonde, Director of Public Programs and General Manager of the Davis Center, and Stormy McNair, Senior Manager of Programming Partnerships. You can take it from here, Sandy.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks, Shatik. So nice to be with everyone this evening. Everyone, you can hear me, right? Kind of thumbs up. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. Just checking. So nice to be here again, speaking about the Davis Center. I'm going to start with just an update on our construction progress, and then I'll turn it over to Leah and her team who will speak about construction. So Olivia Freeland, our VP of Construction, I've asked her if she could share our slides. So while they're getting up on the screen, what I'll say is before we kind of dive into construction, just to give everyone in the community board just a quick background on the project. You may have been around when we first came through for the public review, but if anyone who is new as well. So Olivia, you can go to the next slide. Okay. Great. So just a view of the original Lasker pool and rink that was constructed in the 1960s. This was a facility that was really just kind of laid on top of the landscape, but it was a very important community resource serving as a pool and rink. If you want to go to the next slide. This slide, when we first showed this around, we were accused of kind of gaming how big Lasker actually was in the park, but I can assure you this is to scale. As you can see, it was really hemmed in between the drive, just really severing the hydrology of the park. The stream course that runs from the 100th Street pool to the Mere was diverted into a culvert and severing the park circulation in that area of the park. You can go to the next slide. As you can imagine, this type of an intervention was really, just engineering. It was really just a failure, quite frankly. It flooded and it delayed the opening in the 1960s, and it always was plagued with flooding issues for the remainder of the time that it was in operation. If you can go to the next slide. But again, as I mentioned, just an important community resource, and some of these great old photos are fun to see. Here is the pool, and then the next slide is the skating rink. Again, this was before it was a concession, and you can see the single sheet ice that everyone in the community was using. The next slide. But the experience of getting to the rink, you know, it was this kind of large wall, this imposing structure. The next slide will show you, you know, the entrance into the building. It was really hemmed in next to the drive. The next slide will show you just the experience of entering into the pool area, the line that formed, and just not a pleasant experience for anyone who wanted to use this important amenity. Here you can see the water looks tantalizingly cool, but the wait in line, not so much. And even when it was a rink, if you go to the next slide, there was just kind of a cacophony of barriers to get even into the facility. Filled with barricades. It wasn't accessible from an ADA compliance standpoint. And then here is another slide. You know, you would exit from the North Woods, leaving Huddlestone, and you'd come to the back of this facility, which, you know, just didn't seem like a place that you belonged. So if you go to the next slide, with all of that in mind, when we undertook to begin the design of the new facility, we set about outlining a series of objectives. Obviously, to replace the facility, it had reached the end of its useful life. We determined that it just could not be repaired. And for all of the things that I just mentioned, it needed to be replaced. And in doing so, we wanted the new design to repair the damaged landscape and hydrology, also providing the largest pool and rink possible, removing the physical and visual barrier, having the design be inspired by the scenic landmark, be welcoming, accessible, environmentally sustainable, and most important as well was to serve park users year round. As you know, the pool is open approximately 2 months in the summer, and then the skating rink in the winter. And for most of the year, the facility sat unused. So part of the design, and that's what Leah and her team will speak to, is about offering that year-round program. So if we go to the next slide.
Apologies, my slides are so slow here.
I'll start with the rendering of the new facility. And as I go through these slides, I will pair a rendering with some of the construction that's been ongoing. If you've been in this area of the park the last couple of years, you've seen the progress happening. Some of these are a little bit more up close photos as we go along. So Olivia, you can just kind of quickly click through these and I'll speak to them as we go. So here's a section view of the facility, just showing how it's kind of slid into the landscape, really fusing architecture and landscape architecture in the park, taking its cues. You may see this in other areas of the park. Bethesda Terrace, for example, is a very architectural feature, but as you approach it, you don't necessarily see it in the landscape. So you see the drive is there on the left, or my right, I should say. And then underneath, there is a green roof that extends down with a park path that goes across. There's locker rooms and showers to support the program of the pool, as well as a large gathering space with picnic tables and a glass curtain wall with that pivots open. So in the summer months, the doors can remain open, kind of creating a shaded porch. Also in the spring and fall, those doors can remain open for folks to come in, and then they can obviously close in the colder months. The next slide. So we started with demolition of the original facility, Lasker, that started in September of 2021. Next slide. After we completed the demolition, we had to clear the site. And once all of the debris was cleared from the demolition, you can really get a sense of the size and scale of just how big this facility really was. We then created that supportive excavation wall, which is that back wall of the facility that I showed in section view along the drive. And then the next slide. We then started to create the superstructure from creating the interior building spaces. And then the next slide. Just a view. This was taken late last fall, early winter. You can see the progress. You may have noticed that the pool, we've actually filled it twice, both to test for water tightness and to turn on all the mechanical systems. All systems go, no issues. So then the next slide. This is a rendering of the green roof. So just beyond that landscaped area is the park drive. You can see Huddlestone in the distance. This park circulation will be open at all times. So people can just walk across, take in the views. This is a current view. This is the drive with the wood guardrail fence overlooking then the green roof and beyond. The next slide will show a little bit more about the green roof. This is what's known as an intensive green roof, meaning we are able to plant large mature trees on the green roof. It's not just kind of the sedum plants that you may see in other green roofs. We were able to achieve the soil depths in order to do that. So just a view of us planting some of the large trees to kind of screen some of the infrastructure that's needed for the mechanical systems. Then the next slide. Just a rendering then looking at the facility. You can see the green roof across the top. This is when it's in the shoulder season in the spring and the fall with the artificial turf, which we'll speak a little bit more about. And then the next slide is just a current view. So those glass curtain wall is installed. And then the next slide. Just an interior view rendering of the hallway. The next slide will show our current progress. This hallway, we kind of refer to it as the spine. This is where all of the locker rooms and showers are kind of coming off of. And then also inside of the hallway are large portal that go into the gathering space. And so you can see that right there with the wood slat ceiling, the interior finishes, and all of the restrooms are being placed. Go to the next slide. Floors are going into the back spaces. You can see paint on the wall. That's an elevator there that has already been inspected and has passed. So that's ready to go. The next slide. Just a rendering then of that large gathering space with the large picnic tables. And then the next slide. That's the current view. Again, you can see that wood slat ceiling and the glass pivoting doors. And you can, with the individuals there and all of the equipment as they work, you can really get a sense of the scale and the size of this space. And then the next slide. So this is a rendering then of that path that I showed you earlier coming out of Huddlestone. So this is very different than coming out into kind of this back area of what was Lasker. You can see the daylit stream on your left. Over to the right would be what we call the outdoor room, which will be the pool and rink. So you can go to the next slide. The construction on that steep embankment wall coming down from the drive. It's an engineered slope. It's designed to just continue to carry the landscape character through to the site. And at the base there is the bottom of the stream course. So you can go to the next slide, Olivia. And then we've also done work to remove sediments from the mirror, doing shoreline plantings. So this is removal of the sediments. And we also put up a temporary dam known as a porta dam. And then the next slide. We'll be continuing our restoration of the shoreline. You may remember several months ago, we came with the rest of the project to keep going around the shoreline. That work will be phased and be upcoming in the future. So this park path, this is an original shot looking back towards Lasker. The circulation system was added in the 1940s that was not original to the park. And so we're removing sections of it and creating a boardwalk so that the water of the Mere can lap up against the rock outcrop to bring individuals closer to the water and kind of evoke that historic feeling of the original park. And so just a shot there of the boardwalk under construction.
It's coming.
And then another shot there looking down from the rock outcrop. So reestablishing a park path up to the forts. So you'll be able to come down through the forts and come down into this area of the park. Then we'll go to the next slide. And I'll talk a little bit about the year-round programming and how we're going to accomplish that. So as we know, the facility is a pool and a rink. And then in the middle is the shoulder season, which will be an artificial turf. So basic kind of like an open lawn. And then I have a series of slides here to show how we're going to accomplish that type of program in a city pool. So what you're looking at is basically a riser system. It's similar to a stage that you would see at a rock concert or anything else that's going into the bottom of the pool. And once that riser system is installed, on top of that is a fiber grate decking system. And that's flush with the pool edge. And right now we're installing the ice rink. So in the next series of slides, you'll see the dasher boards being installed. And then the ice rink system is literally rolled out. It's a mat tubing basically, that's hooked to the mechanical systems that are in the building. And then the ice is made for ice skating. So we're putting that up right now. We're going to commission the system, make sure everything is working properly. We will dismantle all of this and then put the artificial turf down. And then after the artificial turf season is complete, we will remove it and it'll become a pool for the late June. So I will turn it over to Leah, who will talk a little bit more about the programming that will happen during these 3 seasons.
Great. Thank you, Sandy and Olivia. And I think the slides might move a little faster because we don't have as large of photos, but we'll see.
Okay.
It's really nice to be here with you all. Thank you so much for having us. The Conservancy's public programs team has been really hard at work pulling together programming and operating plans for the new Davis Center. Can't believe we're already here. And we're just delighted to be sharing our progress with you all. So if all goes as planned, if you hit the next slide, we feel confident that the return of this obviously once beloved public amenity in its re-envisioned state will really have a tremendous impact on both the experience of visiting Central Park and on its surrounding communities. So between the sustainable design of the facility and restored and enhanced landscape, year-round access across all seasons on different surfaces, and a new community-led operating model that prioritizes public programming over profit, and that's a really important point for us. We're confident that the Davis Center will become a true community destination and really a wonderful place to skate and to swim and to play and discover, to relax and picnic, or take a tour, or just walk through to get to the North Woods and the rest of the park. So even before we started construction, I think still previous slide, Olivia, community engagement's always been at the core of this project, and that's still the case today. So over the last year, and you'll see more about this later from my colleague Stormy, we've just been super busy continuing dialogue with community members about really what's most needed out of this venue. And this was done through surveying and tabling at our summer events like Harlem on the Summer, Summer on the Harlem Mirror, through tabling at Harlem Week, messaging through our North End newsletter, which right now has over 12,000 people subscribed, and that's fairly new and a list that's growing pretty quickly. And then you'll see later in the presentation many meetings with community board organizations, based organizations, and local businesses. So finally, we have selected year one partners for the programming, and really carefully, sorry, back to more still, Olivia. These partners are organizations whose missions and values are in complete alignment with our goals for the Davis Center. And so we're really thrilled to be able to use the Davis Center's platform to help amplify all the really good work around youth development and arts and culture and wellness through sport that our partner organizations are going to be bringing to the facility and bring to the community day in and day out in their regular programming. Okay, next, the slide before this one, Olivia. So this slide showcases the expanded access to the facility during the shoulder season. So you saw in Sandy's renderings the turf season, which we're calling the Harlem Oval. And this happens in these green windows you see here and between rink and pool season. So formerly Lasker was closed to the public for long extended periods of time between rink and pool season. And the goal with this new turf is that the public will have access to public restrooms, our indoor gathering space, and the new public green space that we're calling the Oval during those sort of April, May, and September, October months. Next slide. All right, so finally, what does success look like for us in year one? It's really important to us that we take the time over the course of the first year open to test out kind of what kinds of programs resonate most with the community and the people coming to enjoy the space. So a little bit of everything is our goal to see what sticks. And as is the case with any new building, it's really important to us that we allow ourselves just lots of breathing room to make sure the facility is fully operational and safe, and that we open with excellent customer service. We are also prioritizing local hiring so that the staff on site is reflective of the community we hope to serve. And finally, as mentioned before, we're super laser focused on just building lasting and trustworthy partnerships with local nonprofits, organizations, and schools to make the biggest and broadest impact possible. So I'm going to turn it over to Darlene to give you a little bit more information about the seasons that we are planning.
Thank you, Leah, and good evening, everyone. So here's a glimpse of some of the programs we'll offer. During the spring and fall, the Harlem Oval will come alive with outdoor wellness classes, nature activities, school field days, and specialized North End tours. Designed for relaxation rather than high-impact sports, the Oval is the perfect place to unwind. We're excited to partner with Multitasking Yogi, Go Hard Dance, and others to offer a variety of fun programs. Next slide. We view the Harlem Oval as an extension of the park, a space to slow down, gather, and connect. That's why much of our program here focuses on calm and connect and games on the green. Next slide. In the winter months, the ice rink will offer skate lessons, learn to skate classes, and hockey leagues for both youth and adults. We are committed to expanding community access and are prioritizing partnerships with local organizations such as listed here from Figure Skating in Harlem, Ice Hockey in Harlem, and giving them dedicated ice time to run their impactful programs. Next slide. Unlike Lasker Rink, which focused more on hockey, our vision is to create a balanced ice experience with more community skating, which you can see here in light blue, prioritizing partnerships with local organizations in light green and other programs. Next slide. As we head towards the first public pool season, we are extremely focused on working with the Parks Department to develop a swim program that resonates with the community. The outdoor pool will be open from 11 to 7 starting at the end of June. But if you're not swimming, there are plenty of activities to do. Join us for a guided tour of the amazing Davis Center, soak up the fun at Summer on the Harlem Mere, or groove to some live jazz at the Great Jazz on the Great Hill featuring Jazzmobile. Plus, the Dana Discovery Center offers fishing, discovery kits, and lawn games, while Central Park Farm Stand with Corbin Hill brings fresh and local produce. So, no matter your interests, whether it's music, nature, or just relaxing, Central Park has something for everyone. Now, I'll hand it over to my colleague Stormy McNair to discuss our community engagement plans.
Darlene, good evening, everyone. Next slide, please. In addition to engaging our program partners, we've been spreading the word about the new Davis Center to wonderful organizations across the community, many of which are listed on this slide here. We've been taking time to get to know these CBOs who are quite excited to offer the support of spreading the word as well. And we are aware that this is a state-of-the-art facility, and many will come to experience the welcoming, sustainable design we spoke about, as well as year-round programming. Yet it is extremely imperative to us and for us that the surrounding Harlem communities are aware of the increased access and feel welcomed. Next slide, please. Part of raising such awareness, we also step outside of the park's perimeter to spread the word about the Davis Center and the North End programming. Now, here's a photo, the first on the left, as you're watching, where the team, as well as supportive colleagues, attended Harlem Week just last year, and we table there annually. And this photo beside it is the team with Councilman Yusuf Salam at the District 5 Superintendent's meeting. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Shatik Mitchell to share more about our work in the North End. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Stormy. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thanks, Olivia. So we see the Davis Center as connected to all of the great things happening in the north end of the park. As mentioned previously, over the past 30 years, the Central Park Conservancy has made significant investments in the north end of Central Park and the Harlem community through various restoration and improvement projects. One of the most notable is the Conservatory Garden located on Fifth Avenue between 104th and 106th Streets, which many of you, are already familiar with. The garden is currently undergoing its first comprehensive restoration since 1983. This project includes rebuilding pavements, modernizing infrastructure and fountains, restoring benches, and enhancing accessibility with new ramps and pathways. The restoration is on track to be completed by early May. On the Upper West Side of the park, you'll see we have the North Meadow Center located just north of 97th Street, which is undergoing a major transformation to enhance the visitor experience. This project includes resurfaced handball and basketball courts, new pickleball courts, accessible restrooms, chess and checkers tables, bike racks, and upgraded public amenities. We are looking at a completion date for that project in late spring to early summer. Meanwhile, in the North Woods, which is one of my favorite parts of the park, it's probably 40 acres worth of woodland made for nature's lovers. And if you like to go bird watching, of course, that too. But the North Woods features the ravine and also the historic block house, which is the oldest structure in the park, which was built during the War of 1812 to defend New York from the British. So definitely go and check it out if you haven't been up there yet. The North Woods offers a quiet escape from the city. It's relaxing, perfect for walking, exploring, or just getting your mind right. And then we have the Dana Discovery Center, which offers the free educational programs. We have catch and release fishing at the Harlem Mere, free discovery kits, lawn games, exhibits, and community events, such as the Harlem Mere Performance Festival, like Stormy mentioned earlier. And we currently have an ongoing exhibit that tells the story of how the Central Park gates were named, which highlights the park's entrances and includes the recently dedicated Gate of the Exonerated. The Conservancy has partnered also with Corbin Hill Food Project, a Harlem-based nonprofit to host the Central Park Farm Stand located at 110th Street and Malcolm X Boulevard, which offers fresh, affordable produce sourced directly from Black and Brown-owned farms in upstate New York. Last season, the farm stand operated on Saturdays from July through November. We accept SNAP, EBT, and WIC to ensure accessibility and affordability for the Harlem community. This initiative is part of our commitment to providing fresh, healthy food options to the neighborhood, and we look forward to having it back this summer. And finally, the Conservancy has also partnered with NYPD's Community Link. It's an initiative to enhance public safety and quality of life in the North End. By working closely with city agencies and local stakeholders, we're advancing efforts in beautification, expanding access to mental health services, and addressing homelessness. Through this initiative, we've already connected 48 individuals to transitional housing, a milestone we are incredibly proud of. And I'll pass it back to Leah at this time.
Well, we're going to open it up for questions in just a minute, but we wanted to close with a big save the date. If you go to the next slide, we are finally, for the first time, saying out loud that we are going to be opening to the public on Saturday, April 26th, with a big community celebration. And we just hope all of you will join us for what will be a sort of whole afternoon of performances and food and tabling by all of our community partners and activities that they'll bring to the center. We're just going to run tours all day and just, really make it feel like a moment that we can all celebrate, and also a moment that welcomes everyone who's been supportive and on this journey with us along the way. So wanted to flag that date. And that's it on our end. We're happy to take any questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
I do. I mean, I got a nice. Take it away. Got a good amount. I do like it. Just a few questions. I wanted to know, if it's possible, when can we take a tour, like a CB11 tour, or, before the actual grand opening? I don't know if it could be other community boards that's involved in it as well, but I'm pretty sure we would like to take one as a community board 11. And then I wanted to know, and you don't have to answer that right now, but obviously, please get back to Rosa at your earliest convenience. Then I wanted to know, I seen that you have like a timeline of the different rinks, the rinks, the tar and the pool. So in between those 2-week timeframes, I wanted to ask, like, what happens in those 2-week timeframes of it not being nothing? So like, what would happen during those timeframes?
Sure. So in order to build the riser system is basically the company is coming in to build the riser system to then install the turf or to strike and remove the program that's there. So we've been working with a great company. They're called Tate. And they do like the Super Bowl halftime shows, they do Taylor Swift concerts, they do a lot of the turn that, like Madison Square Garden, where it's a basketball game and then it's a concert and then it's, a hockey game. So they were able to do most of the work in 5 days under very snowy conditions, which aren't going to be the conditions when this system gets installed, and they're only going to get faster. So that install time is kind of that very conservative 2 weeks that we put onto the wheel. And again, like as we go along, we'll get faster at that to minimize as much as possible that downtime.
So maybe we should add, Sandy, that the Parks Department does usually come in to get ready for pool season in early June. And so the facility will be with Parks from that date until the opening.
Okay. I see that there's a lot of community engagement and activities. I wanted to know, is there like a fee for community members, or is it free? And I don't just mean when they come in, I mean like for the different programming that you have as well? Is there a fee for the different programmings that you may have here?
Yeah, it's a good question, and Darlene, feel free to chime in here as well. We sort of have what we're defining as like various levels of partnership. So we were talking about the nonprofit organizations who did once call Lasker home, figure skating in Harlem, ice hockey in Harlem. The goal here is to prioritize giving them the ice time that they need before anyone else comes in and uses the ice, and at a deeply discounted rate. So they're paying, premium pricing for many rinks around the city, and our goal is to give them to fundraise ourselves in order to offset the cost of ice for them. So they would be paying to use the ice at a discounted rate. And then in seasons like turf season, a lot of the programming you saw listed are people that we're actually bringing in and paying to come and provide yoga instruction and meditation and relaxation classes for local teachers. And so turf will be a little bit more led by the Conservancy. But again, sort of everyone we're partnering with, even down to the yoga instructors, are people who are deeply invested in the community and making a difference.
Yeah, just to follow up with that question, like, what would the community be paying for the programming? Meaning, if I wanted my kid to be a part of Harlem, ice hockey team, how would that benefit us? And what discounts will we get as far as being in the community? For an example, if, the white school, if you live in 1199, they give them discounts. So, the community, I wanna know, like, what discounts would the community get for the outside programming?
Yeah. So if you were participating in one of those programs, you would be signing up through them to be part of the program. And you probably would be skating a lot of the time at the Davis Center, but also at other rinks where they practice throughout the week. That being said, there are learn to skate programs that we plan to have at the Davis Center where we would love to use the money that we're fundraising for right now to help offset the cost for local participants. So we're still, sort of ironing that out. But when it's a program that's sort of owned and run by us, our whole mission of the whole place is to make it, much more affordable than it was in the past.
So none at this moment. No,
What?
I mean, so none at this moment for outside programming, there are no incentives for in the community, participants.
Well,
There's no discount.
both figure skating and high school,
Mhm.
or Darlene, you can speak to it as
Yeah,
well. But
no.
they both offer.
Yeah, and the organizations that we work with are very mission aligned to what we're all about. So figure skating in Harlem, ice hockey in Harlem, these organizations have been in the community for over 15 years, servicing Harlem community and also families in the South Bronx as well. So a lot of the families that they serve are either low income, but they don't turn anyone down. Our job is to make sure that we're supporting organizations that are really doing meaningful work, youth development work, building good humans, and making sure that we're giving them dedicated ice time that they did not get previously to really run their impactful programs. But as Leah mentioned, one of the things we are going to be doing is also adding more skating programs that Lasker Rink did not have because it was really seen as a hockey rink. And so by adding more community skate, which will be over 50% of the time, and also adding other skating lessons at a much more low cost compared to other ranks, we are hoping to really fully engage the community.
Mm-hmm. And I think Darlene touched on this, but the ice hockey and figure skating, they're both very clear that they don't turn anyone away, that they are, very much pricing their programming at an affordable rate for the community.
We have another question by Russell.
I want to add to what I think I heard Mr. McCullough saying. Those existing programs are their programs. Will East Harlem community residents, young people be able to join those programs? Will they be accepted, have access to those programs? And if they have access to the program where there's a fee, will there be any discounts or any considerations that way? That was the question I believe he was asking.
Sure. That's a great question. I think it's something we can explore with the partners. I don't know off the top of my head exactly how far their reach is, but I haven't heard them ever say anything about turning anyone away from, they're definitely not like, adhering to a certain zip code or neighborhood, from what I understand. And then, one thing oh, sure.
Capacity. I'm talking about capacity. Do they have the capacity to absorb attractive programs, quality programs that already exist now becomes accessible to our community here? That's what we were talking about.
Sure.
I can jump in.
I think it's important, real quick, darling.
Mhm.
Both figure skating in Harlem, as well as ice hockey in Harlem, like they've already said, have been fixtures in the Harlem community. Great question, Russ. But like Harlem Little League, if you apply or join for Harlem Little League and you can't afford it, like we're not turning anyone down, and that's the point that I'm trying to make here.
And one thing I can say is, I should hope that if they have a capacity issue or they have, a group of students who want to participate but can't, that they would think to come to us and see what we can do to help, because really that's what our goal is with the whole mission of the place.
And what we're saying, what motivates these questions, we want to be able to say to East Harlem youth that it's available. Whether they choose to or not, it's available. So we're not trying to be imposing. We just want to know what exists.
No, not at all. That makes total sense. Yep. And as Darlene pointed out, half the season will be skating lessons, inexpensive skating lessons, just open skate time for, very, very low ticket prices. So a lot more to do than just participate in the programs that are going to be running out of the facility.
And then lastly, I have a two-part question. One,
That was Debbie. Debbie did have her hand raised for her.
Go ahead, finish up.
okay. So lastly, I just had a two-part question. One, I seen the spring, I seen in spring you had programming and as well as the winter, but I wanted to ask about the swimming program. I didn't know if it was I seen like it was a very short list, so I don't know if y'all have it quite yet, but I seen aquatic programming, but I didn't know if you had something specific to that. And then who do you contact for programming through you guys? So that was a two-part question.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I think we noted that the Parks Department does take over the pool and run the programming in the summer. So that's from, basically June and July and August rather. They will absolutely be having community community swim 7 days a week. And then in terms of the amount of programming that they can offer, they are, working as we speak to figure out what the programming schedule looks like. And I can say, from our perspective, we've had, 3 or 4 really good meetings with the team there to just say, we are hyper focused on learn to swim, ideally for both children and adults. And we want to do everything in our power to just support, making that happen. So they have shared some very, very drafty schedules with us, but I think more will be coming out in the next few weeks. And I know that there's a lottery that activates, I think, a little bit later in the spring for the Learn to Swim program as well. And we're happy to keep you up to date on all of that as we learn more. And we can also follow up with you on who to contact, because we absolutely encourage you to reach out to Parks and advocate for as much programming as possible.
Yes, thank you. Debbie, if your hand, will you?
Yes.
You can ask me questions, sorry.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you for your presentation. On one of the slides, I noticed that there was a bullet that indicated measured community impact. And can you explain that or provide what was the rationale for utilizing that kind of terminology?
Sure, I can take a stab, or if anyone else would like to. I don't mean to hog the mic. Well, so one of our goals is, again, as a nonprofit, we're mission oriented, and we want to make sure that we're reaching. We set out with this project for it to be community led programming, and we've been very specific in how we define, who we hope is using the facility. We know it will be beloved by all the neighboring communities, but we want to make sure we actually, know that we're moving the needle on that, and that we are attracting the audiences that we hoped this facility would serve. So, for example, tourists may come. That's not our target audience. Our target audience is local New Yorkers, and we hope to be able to measure that by tracking visitation, getting people to sign up for our newsletter so that they can learn more and come more often. We have some early thinking around just, tracking what your experience is like when you're there. That's a follow-up survey after you come, or just a simple mechanism for filling something out while you're there as you leave. And then our partners, as part of, coming on board with us and being part of this experience, have all offered to, really share the impact that they're making through their work as well, so that we can just sort of have a fuller picture of how we're supporting the community.
Thank you for that. Well, perhaps you probably would consider utilizing maybe alternative vocabulary, or to kind of indicate that maybe you will be willing to share or provide, evaluation of your impact, and then commit to coming back to the community board and providing some kind of annual report that indicates how many people how many people are from East Harlem, so that then we can ensure that there's ample dialogue about who's using the facility, because I think that a few of us have had experiences with this type of development and other projects. And initially, for the honeymoon, so to speak, there's that period of, yeah, we'll come back. And then, as time goes by, that tends to get less and less. The dynamics and the cohort tends to change. And then ultimately, the access for the community is limited, and almost to the point of non-existent. And I think that the role of the committee is to kind of engage in supporting your projects, but also having a dialogue that's somewhat long-term, and maybe even thinking about, coming on the committee, or, coming and giving annual or regular reports, because what we don't want is that the light kind of flickers away, and then no one really has access to the program. So in terms of, evaluation and things like that, and cohorts, it's good that you're making efforts to reach out to specific or different community organizations. And I would also encourage you to maybe look at some particular populations that are marginalized, to look at some particular populations that may not have English as their dominant language, and to kind of embrace some of the environment that we kind of exist in right now, and to be a safe haven, to be a place that is reflective of community values, opportunities, and share or celebrate the vast resources of diversity, which seems to be a bad word now, but that you are committed to that in a way that is at the forefront of your programming, at the forefront of your collaborations, and at the forefront of your willingness to continue being in dialogue with the community board, so that you can course correct, right? Because you may find yourself going in a different direction that may not facilitate the opportunity for partnerships.
Sure. Debbie, I really appreciate that, everything you're saying. I think one of the benefits of a nonprofit and of the 40-year sort of caretaker of Central Park coming in and running this facility is that we want to do it in the right way. And we have I think I can say without any hesitation that we want to come to you guys as often as you'll have us and just tell you how it's going. And I mentioned the partners sharing impact. We hope that's in the form of an impact report that we can then consolidate with our own numbers of people participating in our program, and would happily bring that to the community board, again, once a year or as often as you want to see it.
And one final
I'm sorry,
observation
one second, please.
is that
Debbie?
ultimately, the community board is a resource for you in terms
Yeah.
of.
Thank you so much, Leah. I had like a suggestion.
I'm sorry,
also.
I had one more point and I was muted, and I just want to say very quickly that the community board can serve as a resource in terms of if you're looking for funding, there's an opportunity to provide support or letter of support, things like this. So I think that it's in the best interest of both parties to consider how this partnership can flourish.
Yeah, we appreciate that very much.
Yes, sorry. Leah, yes, thank you. I was gonna suggest also partnering with District 4 schools, because I know District 5 schools are a little, on the upper west side, and District 4 covers all East Harlem. I can definitely connect you with, the district office. I know, because my son is an ice hockey in Harlem, they specifically, like have their own specific schools that they will bring their kids to, to different opportunities, and everything is not like open to like everyone in all the community, but I like their program. But if I may, can I connect you with other organizations that may be interested, that are local from East Harlem, that can bring diversity, right, and provide these opportunities for our local youth in East Harlem, if that's okay.
Yes, and a million times. We are literally looking to talk to anyone who will talk to us about how they can get involved, particularly District 4 and District 3. Now that we're talking to District 5, we have a ton of ideas around, coming for field days, on the turf, and building, the rink into PE lessons, and just, want to be using the weekdays during those windows to be, really supportive of the schools. So we'd love that connection.
Absolutely. I'm also connected to the superintendent, Kamar Samuels, which is the superintendent of District 3. So I will also connect you with him, and he will be more than happy to have another partner in him to,
Great.
expand on the youth opportunities. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any other questions? I thought the presentation was very thorough, and we welcome you every single month if you want to come.
So I was gonna ask about that, because since like Randall's Island gives updates every month to tell us what's going on with programming.
Yep.
That y'all can possibly do the same to give us updates, what's going on with the park and programming. It's just a connection that we should have with one another as far as partnerships in our community. And we would love all of our East Harlem community-based organizations to like check in, and just not us, but everyone else can know what's going on as far as what's going on over there at the Mir. And I know that, like on the radio station, they keep telling you to say your name and stuff like that, and why? And it's because everybody might be new, someone might be new to knowing what's going on, there in Central Park. So we would love to have you on a monthly basis at our meetings for this committee. Excuse me.
Well, we appreciate the invite, and can definitely circle back with our schedules to see if we can make that work. But we will absolutely try to be here as soon as, as often as there are updates to share. But happy to look at, sort of your upcoming dates and see if we can at least designate one of us to be on to give whatever updates there are at the time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. The presentation was lovely. Keep on updating us.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, and now we have another presentation, Marcus Garvey Park to be considered for nomination to the National and State Register of Historic Places.
Less of a presentation, more of a discussion for the committee to have.
Oh.
A response to
I
have.
thought what was gonna come and present. I was like, oh my gosh.
I mean, you do have Takashi here, if she's interested in, giving some further advice, but she just, I already shared that link that she gave to us, to you guys, so you guys can review that. You should, and if you have any comments regarding Marcus Garvey Park consideration for listing in the National Register, compile that, and then we can send that along to the stakeholders involved in this, Natasha, do you by any chance have any guidance or any note that you'd like to leave with us regarding the listing?
I can provide some information. So this was started by the State Historic Preservation Office, and they hired consultants to collect information for this historic places nomination. So they are actually going, I think it's in March. They're going to present the information that was collected, and so it's two things that we're nominated for. It's cultural significance, particularly after the 1960s, to not present exactly, but I'm forgetting time frame. But starting at the 1960s for cultural significance, and then the second one is for architectural structures in the park. So, as part of that nomination, we were very lucky to have the consultants create a story map for us. It's very layperson friendly, and I encourage all of you to take some time and look at the story map, because it gives a really full history and shows you different maps from different times of the park, so you can see it before there was anything there. If you scroll down, yes, when it was called Snake Hill, um, this was before the Parks Department acquired the land as parkland. It was known as Snake Hill, and then it was known as Mount Morris Square, then became Park. So it's really great informational history, and it's very, very accessible compared to what the nomination documents look like. So please take a moment, enjoy. Let me know if you have any comments. I can still share with the consultants. But the next step for the National Registry is that the state office is going to present it to, forgetting exactly where to, but it's in March 12th is when that presentation is given.
Yes, we have a question, Takashi.
Mm-hmm.
This is Russell Schuler. I apologize to the committee. I was appointed by Community Board 11 to represent Community Board 11 on that committee. And as the information was being shared among the committees, I thought that was talking to you, Kabashi. I thought the questions that were going back and forth after the report was being finalized, that would be finalized to be presented to Community Board 11 to see if we had any input into that, as opposed to what I'm hearing, a document that's going to be officially done and just done. I sat in those meetings. I sat in the presentations. I'm sitting into the evaluation and assessments. So if I mistook my role, please let me know.
I'm probably not the best person to answer that question, to be honest with you, because it's the State Historic Office that help us get this nomination going. I don't think we were being asked for input. Sorry, that's not the correct way to say that. We were asked for input on who should be interviewed, because there's an oral history component of this nomination that was collected. So we were asked for who should be interviewed as part of that oral history component. And the Mount Morris Park Community Improvement Association gave some recommendations. I believe you also gave some recommendations, but that was the component where they were asking for feedback. And for the Parks Department, we also gave documentations that we had, and they pulled information from other sources as well, from the city archive, because not all of these photos came from the Parks Department.
And that's why I mentioned it, because things that are missing, they could be discovered by other people knowing about it. Where are those photos? Where are other people who could have been connected to it? That's what I was led to believe it was going on. And if I'm misinterpreting, please, I stand to be correct.
Can I just jump in here? I mean, I was contacted for the interview, along with lots of other people. I know this consulting firm. And the process for nomination is done by professionals outside of the community, because it's a complicated process, and the goal is to have it approved, right? And you know, there's a lot of research that determines what goes inside of it and what would be considered by the Historic Preservation Office, which is in DC, I believe, as relevant for designation. That said, I went through this presentation that Tapashi is showing now with a fine-tooth comb and read every single word in it, and I had only one concern. And I don't know if it's actually relevant, but there's a photo that I think may be misidentified. And it's the photo that was provided by the storefront for architecture of an event that took place in Marcus Garvey Park.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
I'm the one that's cycling.
Okay, so I'm just saying it's way through the end, and I don't know if it's relevant, if we want to share that information, if this presentation is, or that photo was going forward for the nomination process.
Yeah, Connie, if you can send me a screenshot of what the photo is and what needs correcting, I can share it with the consultants to have it updated.
If you can just scroll down to the caption underneath it. I think it says that it was, came from the storefront of architecture, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And it says like day 2, I can't read it from this distance. It
Day
says
1.
Yeah, I can't read it
day
either.
1.
Day
Okay,
1, November 11th,
Okay, so-
2017.
that's all correct. I mean, I got the permit for this event, and that's the only reason why I know. That's correct. I don't think the photographer is correctly identified. The storefront for art and architecture. Arts and Architecture did an exhibition of this event that took place over a weekend. But the performance was put together by Performa. And they hired a photographer who's not credited here. And the only reason why I'm mentioning that, these are the kind of things where you get legal issues pop up. So I don't know how this image is being used. If it's just used in this story mapping, probably nobody cares, but if it's going forward to Historic Preservation Office, it could be an issue.
The details matter.
Yeah, this isn't what goes forth in the Historic Preservation Archive. This is more something extra than that the consultants created, but I'm sure they would want to correct it to credit the photographer. So if you can send me the name of the photographer and the picture, I can share that information with them.
That's from 2017. I don't know it off the top of my head.
Yeah, feel free to send me the information when you have it. I can leave my email in the chat.
No, I'll take responsibility. They did ask to interview me and I turned it down. I didn't want to be interviewed for it. But I also, they did not tell me they were doing current information. Which is, that's the only reason why I didn't do it. Because my history is in the last, 12 years, not in the last 40 or 50 years. Anyway, leave it there for now. And the consultants, if they're interested, we'll get them the correct information, and we'll take some digging.
She said send it to her. If you.
I have to dig for it. If they need it, I'll dig for it, but I'm not just gonna dig for it and send it if they don't need it.
I think she wanted.
Yeah, I think if they have it listed as that on the website,
You should change.
they might have it incorrectly listed on the registry, the official registration documents. So if you can kindly share it, Connie, I'll hand it over to them.
Okay.
So what we was, I'm just trying to figure out what we were supposed to do with this, just informational wise?
So this is informational wise, but also in the email I sent you guys, notifying you of the meeting, there is the original document that goes over this process, and basically for us, if you wish to comment on whether or not the property should be nominated to the National and State Registers, please send your comments to the SHPO. I don't have the full.
Preservation Office.
Thank you. At the address below, comments must be received by March 11th, 2025, in order to be considered by the State Board for Historic Preservation when it reviews the proposed nomination. So the committee has the option of compiling any comments by March 11th.
Didn't we already agree that we wanted this nomination to go forward?
I can go and see if there is a formal document. Let me just check. Because if you don't have a formal document, then you're not on record for anything. So let me double check.
I think that was like a year ago.
Let's see.
When did I think you have to?
Maybe that's why.
That's when you got drafted.
That's what I'm saying, but I've been going through meetings.
I remember attending that meeting about a year ago.
Yeah, it's not recent.
And then they kept coming up.
Yeah, but the only thing we doing now is if we want to comment on.
And let it easier. Yeah, I'm saying my role.
Individually, not as a.
So, sorry guys, so for our letters and resolutions, the only things that come up for Marcus Garvey Park, support for Harlem Beat Up 2020. Support for the old school jam in Marcus Garvey Park, and support for traffic safety improvements surrounding Marcus Garvey Park. Those are the only letters and resolutions that we have on record regarding Marcus Garvey.
Interesting.
So is the State Historic Preservation Office asking us for a letter or something?
Not necessarily, so
If we want to comment.
if we want to comment, we received that notice, and basically it just gives us the overview, and in the second to last paragraph, if you wish to comment on whether or not the property should be nominated, submit such by March 11th. So it's not mandatory that we comment, but it'd be nice
If we comment.
if you have something to say, right?
Yeah.
So no letter of support is being asked.
Say that again, Sebastian?
So is a letter of support being asked from Shapo?
No, the document does not explicitly ask for letter of support. It asks, or at least it states, if you wish to comment on whether or not the property. It does not state that we are asking the community board for a letter of support or anything of that nature. In this letter that's directed to this office. They're informing us that the property is being considered and extending the opportunity for us to provide comment if we wish.
So my understanding, having worked in preservation and nominating other things, including things in East Harlem that have been designated. My understanding of the process is they have to put out a public announcement asking for comments. And that is, they don't need a comment, it's part of the process, they legally have to do that, or to see if anyone objects, so they don't really need anything from us.
So
And also I'll add, if Marcus Garvey receives this nomination, it becomes eligible for federal grants, being part
Yeah,
of
we
the
would love to
historic
see it go
registry.
through and be designated, but it's not an easy designation. And if
It's not.
SHPO has gone through all this trouble to nominate the park, then they must think that it's likely to go through, or that they have a good shot. But, you know, the Fire Watchtower has been put through for nomination multiple times and never gotten it.
The Fire Watch Tower is a landmark.
It was never designated the Historic Preservation Office in DC. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm confusing that with the Heritage Site. That's the one they never got, although it was put up several times. So my was the Heritage Site. These are all just opportunities for raising money to maintain and preserve these properties.
Yeah, and Marcus Garvey in particular, the pool was built by an African American firm, the first African American firm that worked with the city parks department. So it has a strong candidacy for other federal grant funds. So wanted to let you all know that. So hopefully we get it to go through this process and in March, and then we'll hear from him. It does have a strong candidacy for historic places as well. And this wouldn't just be right now, it's just the Fire Watch Tower that is landmarked. This would be the entire park.
Yeah, we understand that.
Awesome. Thank you, Tabashi, for your assistance.
No problem.
thank you, Russ, for your help.
Thank you, Mr. Vato, for representing us.
Okay.
Okay, let's move. Okay, the fun part, committee review of preliminary budget document. Yay.
So we just started it early, basically, right?
No, so.
He's better.
Right, so what you're doing right now, basically, you guys, and don't forget, you guys have your board member drives, please access it, right? So I'll start from the beginning, so you guys can see it. Right now, the preliminary budget has been released by the mayor's office.
Yeah.
And you do have access to the budget register. I already put it in your committee folder. Go to environmental business parks, go to budget requests, and so state of the district needs. Go to fiscal year 2026, which we start at the beginning of July. And what we're doing is actually providing comment on the preliminary budget. So
They did.
exactly right. So this here was
It's the opposite, I got you.
right. So basically, you're just going over the mayor's preliminary budget plan, and you want to provide comment regarding whether or not his plan aligns with your interests and your goals, right? Exactly. So you're gonna want to go into this fiscal year 26 agency specific responses draft document. This is the language that we used for last year's submission. So I have that highlighted for DEP, Department of Parks, and then Department of Sanitation. And you're gonna want to, referencing the mayor's budget plan, whether or not it goes along with, your budget request items, your asks, and you can, of course, you craft your response using the references for your tracking codes, correct? So you can, you can go into the actual budget register itself, but you have to fish through
Everybody's
your requests.
29
Yes.
pages.
Right,
53,
or you guys
53.
can go, I did create this budget request tracker that's specific for each committee. And I did update the ones that, of course, are in there, so you see the new fiscal year tracking code. For 3, this is provide new or upgrade existing sanitation garages. So you can just look at, the the agency's response, but you're not crafting or redoing your budget request
Right,
at this
no, no.
time. That's how.
No, we got it, we
We
got
just
it.
reviewing and
Just
commenting.
review and comment.
Thank you. Angel will kill you guys, please.
No, we got it, we got
All about you.
We got you.
Okay, so you'll see that their responses are actually kind of a little bit more satisfying than previous. They actually, you know, agency supports but cannot accommodate, so they recommend to resubmit their requests for the.
Yay, they support, yay.
Yeah, you know, right? This other one for public location, agency does not support and cannot accommodate, and they suggest that you remove this request for conducting a feasibility study and providing the necessary funding to create a green infrastructure corridor along East Wilson Street. They also, these are preliminary responses, by the way, just so you know, that they have to also provide the executive and adopted budget later, moving towards the summer months, so the responses could change depending on, right? This is just preliminary responses. Your request for full renovation of PS 155, agency supports and can accommodate the request. They suggest to remove it.
Yeah.
The renovation of the other capital playground and multi-purpose play ball court areas have been funded, and the basketball court was already renovated along with the play area, right?
Awesome, one.
There's the next one here. Provide funding to fix non-operational lighting to address issues with rat populations. Agency does not support but can address the need alternatively, so they suggest to remove the request.
Right.
Explanation, the lights are working, as they say, and that's also a DOT related matter. And they will assign exterminators to address the rat problem as needed, which is a DOH related matter, okay?
Right.
This next one here, funding should be allocated to provide full renovation for Alice Carnegie Triangle. Agency supports but cannot accommodate the request, resubmit the request.
Oh,
So
it shall be resubmitted.
Right, funding is needed to renovate this playground, and I think that they were interested, that's something that they were interested, we had a constituent comment to, you know, press that when we did do this submission last year. The next one, improve access to park, so funding should be provided to allow for the provision of additional seating, public restroom, lighting, gate, and repair of active playground. Agency supports but cannot accommodate the request, so they suggest resubmitting it. Funding would be required to install sports lighting. We do not believe there is room for a public restroom building or additional seating. And the gate does not need repair, that's.
Where is that at? Oh, Wagner.
Yes, Wagner Playground. And then, so for, and those were capital requests, these are now, expense. Should be allocated to provide an equitable amount of on-street practices and traffic hands. Agency supports but cannot accommodate, but they suggest resubmitting the requests. Although the Department of Sanitation supports this request due to fiscal constraints, you can see blah, blah, DSNY is continuing ordering new bins to replace old wire baskets and are replacing them as funding is needed in. And then the second one, plant new street trees, funding should be allocated to plant new street trees and staff should be provided to maintain existing street trees in the district. Agency supports and can accommodate, and so they suggest removing the request, and they have a full explanation here. And then I know we did have another one for,
I thought something
yes,
about,
capital budget for so this is DP, water delivery infrastructure needed for the community gardens.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so the agency does not support and cannot, but I think I actually did go over this, but this one, we can actually keep.
Yeah, I remember we fought strongly for those.
Right, so that's just for, this is just, you know, for your, the budgets.
I saw something that says, remove these, contact your elected officials.
Oh, so that's staff suggestions, so I'll be filling this in, as I see fit.
Yes,
I usually just type
thank you.
just type it in anyways, but that's just my suggestions, and you guys are not supposed to be focused on editing these
Right.
requests anyways, right now.
Right, you just touched something, ooh.
Right.
Samantha,
we
we
got
see
it.
you.
We don't wanna get you in trouble, right? Alright,
So your task is to just update this document if you, as you see fit, and referencing, of course, your budget request items and the mayor's budget plan, which you can, of course, just access. And then office management and budget publications.
Yeah, I think you sent it, so.
If anything, I'll make sure that,
Yeah.
yes, you do have
Yeah.
it, but basically, this is where you can go through the fiscal, plans and review the, I know that it's typically like a summary. And it would tell.
Yeah, you sent it because I saw it per department.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly, so yes, you can go through this and, say, well, the mayor's talking about he wants to do this, reducing asylum seeker costs, blah, 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 et cetera, and so forth, and. You can find where, it relates to this committee and, or at least where he's neglected to, address any items that the committee is, adamant and advocating for.
Right.
Right, so I'll just make sure you guys definitely have access
Right.
to I'll send you the link in the morning, tomorrow morning. And please, play around with it, don't damage it, because you all have access to this, don't delete anything. And, if you have any questions, of course, I'm happy to talk you through it. Ideally, I don't anticipate you guys coming up with anything for tonight, but the district needs and budget committee meets Thursday, the 19th, thank you. And if you guys have something to submit, for the committee by that time, then so be it, and that'd be nice.
Yeah.
There's-
Let's all have an informal meeting about that.
Sure, there's no harm in reusing this language, just of
Yeah,
course making sure that it's updated and relevant for what's going on today, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. Any questions?
No questions, but being that, I know that we're not gonna get that done tonight. I just have a comment. So, I wish that we would use your guidance on this as far as, updating it to what it currently needs to be as far as keeping it updated. And my suggestion, just mine, I don't know about the board, that we continue with the same language that we have. Obviously tweak the few ones that we don't need to be in it.
All right, you have to update the requests, these are fiscal year 2025, so. Yeah.
Right.
C, funds needed to renovation of Peter Minuet Playground.
Yeah, like, we know we don't need that.
Exactly, right, that's already taken care of. Comfort Station has been funded for the design pilot Greenway Link project, we look forward to working with you young elected officials to acquire necessary, so you can still work with this one in terms of advocating for more restroom spaces along the Esplanade stretch, but I think Thomas Jefferson Park, I think
They have one, they said they.
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
right,
they
so
said,
exactly.
yeah.
So
They
it's
said they put one in.
That's the single.
That it's gonna
portable
finish by
field.
May or something like, it's gonna be.
the port, I know what you're talking about, the Lou or something like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, the
So-
bathroom will be
It's like
open
that
May of
you can see your
2025.
feet when you're in there.
Yes.
So, yeah, updating this language, but then as I said to Rosa, you can technically also, if like, if you have no comment, you have no comment, there is. Oh, sure. It's pretty outside. That is.
It's very weird.
Sorry.
They refer to it as like ventilation. I'm like, no,
That's just for like security.
the squirrels are gonna come.
Okay, so this is what we submitted last year, and we do have the agencies, but not every single sister agency, so. The sanitation, small business services, transportation, youth and education, development, housing authority, police department. Yeah, so, right,
I think we
in the
should.
library, so it would be nice, yes, if we can.
Yeah, I think we should like informally meet and spend like a whole hour just to like maybe like tweak it or decide,
If you guys would like to do that, for sure.
let us,
And this document is a living document, you can access it
Yeah.
anytime and throw in your comments into it.
oh, coffee.
I feel like we need a computer and live computer while we're having.
I mean, Khalid's here every day, we can even come over here. I know.
No, the reason why I'm saying when and where, I have a pretty full calendar, but if I can put it in.
So let me send it in an email because we're missing 3 members. So let us update all of us in one email and I'll send a Google thing that says what the times and everything, so we can all be on the same page.
But we have to be mindful of more if too many of us meet at one time.
No, that's not, a meeting is.
No, it's an informal meeting.
It's not a meeting, you guys are just.
We're just hanging out together, talking about budget.
And yeah, you're not,
I'm just making sure.
and as long as you don't vote on that document.
We're
when you
not,
guys are there, you just draft
we're
it.
not making no motions outside of the actual state law, open meeting law.
So a suggestion, before, like we'll do like a quick Zoom or something like that, like where we could just get it done specifically for that. And so it won't take so long.
Yes.
It'll just.
Right,
Yes,
yes. Okay,
well, I'm here during the business day, you guys know that, so.
yeah, well, come say hi. Stop saying hi. Okay, so we're gonna move on with the,
Since when and where?
yes, we'll discuss that in an email. So with the 7 of us, can, fully discuss when and where to have coffee. Okay, so the old business guys, I have word to make, and maybe,
After you go, we might raise our hand.
yes, oh my Lord, Cynthia, are you still here? Because I got word, okay, no problem, it's okay, I told her to come, but look at, like 2 hours in the meeting. So she said yes to send out a flyer. It has been approved, so the flyer will go out tomorrow and,
Where's the location?
El Museo del Barrio, and, I'm gonna send you guys, the flyer that I created, or we can, like, I don't know. We can tweak it or something, I don't know, but this is what may look. You can just like pass it around, or if anyone has any suggestions, I would love flyers like tonight. So I can, like, see if we can just send it out tomorrow, so we can start the work.
That's great.
And then, meet hopefully maybe like on a weekly basis for like half an hour to like checking ideas and, like partners, especially environment, open space. I mean, that's for members, but okay. It's Nick B, VIP.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, that's really, really nice work.
Oh, stop it.
No, it is. I'm not even,
If they like it, I'm good.
am I lying, though? That's really nice.
I love flyers. I love like creating and edit. Oh my gosh, that's just, okay.
I like candy. Why don't we have candy at these meetings?
Connie, I asked for snacks. I ain't gonna lie to you, I definitely asked.
I promise to bring next month. I know, today I was, listen, my head, I apologize, my head has not been in it for the past 2 weeks, my baby has been a bit sick. But next month, we're gonna have a little something, okay, because it's international women, and I'm gonna show you what women do. We provide a lot of candy and food and a lot more. Love. Okay, so we're okay to sending a flyer tomorrow, and please, the members, I'm gonna reach out to all the members, like if they're okay with this too, because it's just us because we're here, yeah, it is just us because we're here, right?
In terms of what?
The flyer?
Instead of voting for the flyer, I don't know.
You can't vote on it.
I mean, we're in
You
an
don't have-
open meeting.
I don't think
You don't have to vote on the
I
flyer.
don't think it's necessary to vote on it.
Yeah, you fine.
That's my opinion.
I just gonna.
We can say we have a flyer.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so it will go out tomorrow, and, what is the best day? Again, I'm gonna send it via email to me on a weekly basis for like a little half an hour, just to plan any ideas, so we can all be on the same page, moving forward. And,
Like a Monday
okay,
for me. I mean, I work weird hours and I work,
Mondays, mornings, afternoons, evenings, maybe.
yeah, Monday's the day I kind of get organized for the next 6 days, so I'm more flexible on Monday.
Mondays?
What the hell, Paul?
Mondays, do you think, Mr. Russell?
Every day the same.
Even tired.
Be tired.
Okay, morning, afternoon, evening? Evening, okay, 5, 6, 7? 6 p.m. 6 p.m.
Just go with what everybody else is
Okay.
okay with.
The members in present voted for Monday at 6 p.m. to informally meet about the environment, open space and parks, weekly check-in,
Birthday.
Earth Day, thingy-majingy, yes.
Or could we do like half an hour before our meeting, or like kind of our standing meeting?
No.
No, no, cause yeah, we'll do, the Earth Day, this is gonna be like an Earth Day committee,
Got it,
and
got it.
I'll include everyone, just in case whoever wants to show up.
Okay.
And, we can, start the work. you know.
Because it's weekly,
Yeah.
we won't be able to,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then that would be like, we only have
That's
2 meetings, so before that.
Okay, so I think, is this right? Oh, yes. Yes. And, also, I was told that it was going to incur, costs, right? And, it's gonna be like 1,500 because they have to hire someone for cleaning and security guard and
Where
stuff
does
like that.
that money come from?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, everyone will give, a couple of hundred to that. So, I'm gonna speak to Angel and see if we have, our 500. And maybe other committees, if they want to chip in, and maybe we can get either 1,500 or 1,000 or something.
So my question to that is, I mean, if we have to, because what was the cost last year for, do you know?
No, I don't.
It was just for food. Last year.
So it was free, our location was free.
Yeah.
I had to go and check the.
No,
yeah.
that's fine. Is there anything else? Because for us to come up with the 500 to ask another committee, that means we would have to ask 3 committees to.
No, it doesn't have to, sorry, let me clarify. It doesn't have to be the 1,500. But if we can, like chip in with anything, that would be great. And I'm sure that we're gonna have a couple of maybe restaurants that can, cater to us on that specific day. Even if it is 500, I guess it's okay.
Is the 1,500 the total cost of the event?
No, the total cost of the space because of those 2 people that they have to hire for that specific day.
So El Museo is charging us $1,500 to use the space?
It's not charging us, no, that they have to pay, but if we're able to,
Help out. for the
supplement.
costs.
Okay.
Yeah,
Same thing.
no, it's
No,
not.
they're not asking us to pay this $50.
No, they're not.
They're asking, hey, do you, much
If
like how,
we're able.
yeah, much like how, the individuals that, do the tree lighting ceremony, they asked like the Eco Deck
Right.
Committee, this is our costs here. Are you guys able to support?
Shipping, right.
Yes, there's $500.
Mm.
So it's a lot like that. And if you'd like to ask other committees that have $500 as well, if it's available, check in with Angel first.
Yeah. I'll check.
You can petition to that committee.
Mm.
Are you guys planning on using your $500 for this fiscal year? If not, you're gonna lose it. And would you like to
Exactly.
contribute to this committee's
So
cost?
good cause.
Are we allowed to solicit like corporate donations or no?
You can, like, you can go to Dunkin' Donuts, Target, you can go to these people and say, hey, we're a Parks Committee for
I'm going to-
East Harlem, and would you guys are you guys able to donate anything to us?
Yeah.
We'd be happy to put your logo on our flyer or something like that.
Great.
And you'd find out there are,
No like conflict of interest stuff.
no, there's no, unless you work for Target and you would benefit from donating this to an event. You could even try local businesses, like, are you guys able to donate some empanadas or I don't know, something?
Even if it's $100, you know what I mean, like from different organizations in our community that benefits from our money anyways. Yeah, we have a plan now.
I would refrain from trying to receive donations in terms of like cash. I would refrain from doing that. And like, I would ask Angel about that first. If it's receiving like,
A check.
like no, like
Check.
cash in general, I would refrain from doing that. If it's more so like, goods, like, you know, you go to Dunkin' Donuts and you ask for a couple of box of Joes or whatever like that. That's, you know, the things like.
Right, that should be for, the day of.
Right, right. So
Okay.
I would refrain from asking for money.
Chapels.
Correct, yes. That's like an actual different.
Right.
beast.
That's, okay.
Okay.
Forgot the word, okay. You're right, thank you so much. I think we're good, so we can move on. Okay.
Question. Oh, I'm just letting you know that you had a question.
Oh, what's the next?
Oh, okay. No, because he raised his hand and then you started talking, so I didn't know.
I was making contact.
Well, you guys are moving on to, I guess, old business or new business, whatever, but this is kind of old business.
Yeah.
Future. And future business, yeah. So, I'll give you guys, two things. It's an update in what we're planning on. So, I'm Nicholas Alexander, and this is Kevin Simic. We came before you guys last year, I think in about around March, and presented, and we work with Civitas, it's a civic organization. And so we came around last year and presented our vision for a potential phase 2 project at the East River waterfront. So we have been advocating for revitalization of that area for several years now. And so we've been, yes, and so we're super excited that EDC and Parks is doing this phase 1, right? You know, it's from 96 to 107, but then it restarts from 117th and a half up to, I think, 121st or so, something like that. And so they're leaving out, you know, a half-mile section completely. And so we came to you guys with our vision, and you guys voted and said, yes, we support you, like, go forth and see what you can do, you know, and continue to advocate for this mission. And so we have been doing that. We did get a meeting with EDC and Parks recently, I believe it was in November of last year. And unfortunately, that meeting didn't go how we wanted it to. They pretty much said, you know, right now we don't have the funds for it, and, you know, we're working on other stuff.
It's not included in their.
And it's not included in the current
Yeah,
phase.
we've had this conversation with Parks, and
So,
I mean, I think the thing to understand is they actually do wanna do that,
They want to.
that remaining portion.
the other thing is, you know, they're raising the sections that they're renovating by 3 feet.
Yeah.
And this other section in the middle is gonna be lower than the rest of the area. So if there is a flood, it's all gonna go into the area.
They do want to do it.
Yeah.
That's where we actually come in. We
Yeah.
have to try and convince, like with the phase that's being done now, this committee and other committees and other people really pressured our elected officials, and we got most of that funding
Yes.
directed towards the project, and Parks got brought in a lot of that funding as
Yes,
well.
so we're here today to continue to urge you to help us and, you know, maybe ask them again, you know, hey, guys, you know, is there any update on the phase 2 for, you know, this section of waterfront? You know, if you could, that'd be great, and if you could, you know,
Yeah.
perhaps put it on your budget agenda, that would be great as well.
Why isn't it on our budget?
You know, just to elevate it.
We said yes, so we thought
So
it
we thought it
was
was done,
taken
but
care of.
they were like, hey, we're not gonna do this section, and so like, you know, so, you know, if you could, you know, put it on your agenda, you know, we would really appreciate that, you know, that way it's elevated to. You
Is
know,
it too late? to
powers
put it
that
on
be.
the-
It's already, we already voted on.
But there's always next year.
Yeah,
You know,
so we'll put it
right,
at the
so,
end of this year,
you know,
or
Yeah,
next year.
submit your
Yeah.
budget requests.
In October.
Yes.
And so we're gonna continue to, you know, try and pressure them and work with the elected officials on our side. And we would encourage you to do the same and ask questions as much as you can. and make this really a community issue, because it is.
When you mentioned parks, did they have a number in mind as to what that?
They didn't, and I don't even think they wanted to float a number, and I don't, for them, it was like, we're gonna keep moving north for now. And we'll get back to this when we can get back to it, kind of thing. That was the impression that we got, and it was kind of like, what the heck?
They didn't give exacts, but they were using previous projects to give a ballpark. So whether it be a pier or any sort of over water pass they would have to do, they were using previous numbers, which would obviously be more inflated now. So they weren't giving an exact, and plus, since it's not even in the scope, it's hard for them to speak to it.
Yeah.
So until really, as you work with them and put it on your budget and talk with them, and there's enough community support, which I would assume there would be.
Does it make any sense for us to ask for a meeting with Parks to discuss how to move forward with that section?
You have every right to do that. That's what the Parks Committee.
I think they committed to $300 million for this current section.
Yeah, they're doing it,
And so I would assume it would be anywhere between 200 to 300 million for the next section.
No, we know it's a couple hundred million.
Yeah.
I think though, it's that what, it becomes like a. I say this politely. Like at the current moment, like Steve Simon is not speaking to me. We go through this every few years. And that's fine because you choose your battles and you fight them. So my question to all of you is this the next battle we want to see if we can,
Can I get more? I don't know, I wasn't on the committee.
Sure, Civitas is it's a civic organization that focuses on quality of life in East Harlem and the Upper East Side. So they go down on the Upper East Side as well.
Cool.
So there's, like electric bike initiatives and transportation stuff and zoning issues down there as well that are different than some issues here. So it's all throughout the East Side, and both of us live here in East Harlem, which is why we're here.
We appreciate you being here in
Thank
person.
you.
It's I love you all, but there's some new faces around once in a while.
And then,
You haven't met Rosa in person. I don't
yeah,
think.
congratulations for your being chair. And
Promotion.
yes, there you go. And so I know you guys are gonna have to probably discuss that internally a little bit and figure out which direction you wanna go in.
So this is the discussion,
Okay.
and I think I like what Connie said, we should, I have been in good terms, with Steve, so let me just see what kind of.
For now.
That was my, so nice to ask for the meeting. Just a minute.
So I request a little friendly meeting to discuss, and maybe he'll can come maybe next month or the following month. And see what we can do,
Yeah.
like friendly pushing.
And
I think you need a meeting that takes place during regular business hours.
And I just also want to add my second part to this, which might, help inform you guys as well in your decision making. We are also planning on reaching out to the school on the high school on 114th Street on the east, Pleasant Avenue.
One of the buildings I had to.
I forget the name of it right now.
Sir?
No.
It's be math and science.
It's math-
The Center of Math and Science.
It's Manhattan Center for Science.
Is it-
That's
Yeah,
what it
that's my high school.
Well, yeah, 116.
Come on now.
Oh, let's.
It's between 114 and 116.
Yes. My mom.
What is Benjamin Franklin?
So we're gonna reach out, we are planning on reaching out to them to ask if they would be interested in us engaging with their students to host some kind of design competition or vision competition for them to contribute their vision on what they would like to see on a phase 2 renovation, because they're there every day and they see that waterfront every day.
So there was CB hosted a design competition, I don't know, I was 12 or 14. No, it was a long time ago. I think everyone in this room probably has not seen that,
Mhm.
you know.
I could probably dig it up, and share it.
That might be interesting.
I'm sure, Principal James will
Yeah.
be glad to collaborate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know him. and
I know him.
and So if you could help me get his.
Yeah.
Make it clear.
And because I feel like, you know, it would be a great opportunity for the students to engage on this as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anything that has to do with opportunity for the
yeah.
students,
Yeah, and if,
count me in.
you know, we would write them like, you know, give them a certificate of, you know, civic engagement kind of thing, you know? like-
Yes, community hours.
And they can put it on their resume or their.
Yeah.
transcript or
A
whatever.
little certificate with a seal and
Why not?
everything.
Like, we'd be
Yeah.
happy to.
I
To
love
benefit to
it.
the community. And we were hoping that it would culminate in a presentation to, you know, CB11, to us, to any of the elected officials, to EDC and Parks, if we could get them, and kind of push the issue a little bit.
Has there been more movement on the EDC side?
The meeting that we had in November was with both.
It was both.
And,
Interesting.
and they were both kind of like, we're the same, you know, not our priority right now.
So can I ask everyone a question? Cause my mind is, it's kind of like off a little bit.
All of our time.
Only reason why, because, I mean, from my memory, I thought that it was only a one small piece, which was, I wanna say, between 114th and 117th, that wasn't,
It's closed.
yeah, but it wasn't granted the money, the funds at the time, and I thought everything else was, except for
Little
maybe,
further
or was it 117th and
I think
100?
it's seven, so
down.
right
What
after
is that?
your construction, the new pier that they have.
To 117. So
Right.
there's 10 blocks.
I can tell you exactly.
Well,
what
before
happened.
it was
I
a
can
lot
tell you exactly.
smaller.
They granted that money, that they said it could be allowed to use for that section for 107th and up. But they did a walkthrough early on, and said, this section is good enough, we don't need to renovate it. Just renovate everything from 107th down and renovate everything from 118th up. And so they said this is good enough. And so
The
they,
same one
so
that's
they didn't include it.
underground, the same area that's
Yep,
messed up.
exactly. And so when they said that, and they said it on the meeting with us, I was. Who walked it? Like, who walked it and said it's good enough?
So this is why I
Like,
think,
it's
I think this
crazy.
is why it's best that we have that little, you know, conversation, just to get something started and on the
Yeah,
books.
yeah.
You
And
know,
and I also
especially
don't
when
wanna
you
throw
have,
them
you
under
guys,
the bus or anything, cause
No, no,
you know,
no.
they came up with a wonderful plan for the phase one. But, you know, we need it.
right, and this is why we work together, right? Because it is in the community that we're speaking.
Yeah.
On behalf of. So, we'll do that, meeting and we'll connect you with, Manhattan, Center for Science and Math.
Yeah.
You can provide me your information and then, yeah, okay?
Yeah.
Are they involved in the Earth Day project?
They will
They
be
meaning
involved.
Civitas.
They will be, yeah, Civitas is always invited. Yeah, Civitas is
I
always.
was just trying to make sure I put them on the spot.
No, I have a list, thanks to Jessica. You know, I have a list of all the organizations that we invited, last year, so she, you know, like.
Do you want to co-sponsor for?
I don't know, like, how much authority.
Samantha.
Discretionary funding?
I have the authority.
Oh, you got it, so red.
I'm sorry.
Moving on. Khalid, your turn to roll.
Unless you guys are finished with any other new business, right?
Yes, that was, new business, making us work harder than, you know.
This is their contacts.
Okay, so real quick, guys, Rosa Diaz,
I present.
thank you, Connie Lee,
Present.
Malik McCullough,
Here.
thank you, Samantha Pedro.
Present.
Thank you, Debbie Quinones,
Present.
Debbie Russell Schuler. Thank you, and then, so sorry, Clement absent. That's it, Chair.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Malik, when we gonna do Tucson Park, man? When we gonna bring that back up?
Well, we might as well get on with